Hello ladies and gents, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities and identities, and welcome back to another Doctor Who review. And today's Doctor Who review is none other than Battle Scars. Now this short trips essentially takes us right back to the beginning of the Ninth Doctor's kind of timeline and gives us an answer for something we've all wondered for a very, very long time. Is where did the kind of beginning of the Ninth Doctor happen at the end of the War Doctor? And essentially, in this story, we find out that the Ninth Doctor has newly regenerated into himself and found himself in a situation in which he lands and crash lands in a garden. Upon crash landing in this garden, he comes across a little girl named Edith and her family, who are preparing to go on a voyage on the Titanic. Now their trip hasn't quite arrived quite yet, but the Doctor is in a state of absolute turmoil. A couple of days before they are set to go on the Titanic, the Doctor finds himself in a position in which the family begin to patch him up and he begins to brood over surviving his war. He begins to talk to their daughter about the fact that life being precious is a questionable motive, especially after everything he's witnessed in the Time War. He's not quite sure whether or not he is prepared to move forward. Now the little girl points out to him that no matter what happens, him trying his best is what's important. This begins to reassure him, and eventually he begins to go investigate a scenario when he soon learns that the family's father, who also is a soldier, coincidentally, has found himself in a spot of bother with his business partner. His business partner seems to be trying to charge him for a bunch of damages that don't actually result from him. It turns out that his business partner now owns the company and is pretty much just trying to charge him for everything that's going on. The Doctor decides to go down to the dockyard and investigate the ship, and soon discovers that the hull and the bolts aren't quite correct. Now this suggests that particularly the Doctor was investigating the early kind of replicas of what would go on to become the Titanic itself. The Doctor goes into the man's office and soon discovers that he has been messing with the ship by essentially meddling about with what seems to be a kind of wind device, but a wind device that seems to affect the metal in a very strange capacity. The Doctor and his new companion essentially decide to blackmail him and say that he should go back to the family and become friends, otherwise he will be outed to everyone the fact that he has been meddling with the ships and the dockyards. The Doctor also blackmails him into paying the full price for everything that's going on, especially because he seems to be valuing business over friendship. Once that is resolved, the Doctor goes back to the family and essentially reconnects these two best friends and then leaves in the middle of the night. However, before he leaves two things. One, he leaves the book The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. And the second thing he does is he decides to take their tickets for the Titanic to save them from the tragedy. They wake up a couple weeks later to find out the event of the Titanic has happened and the Titanic has gone missing. So, what would I give Battle Scars out of 10? It's a solid story, and Salem Ulag, I hope I pronounced that right, really understands the Ninth Doctor. They understand his motivations, they understand his struggles, and most importantly, they understand the trauma of him being a soldier in his last incarnation. I like that most of the characters in this story are all relating their life tragedies to war, and I really like how the mother of our protagonist finds herself in a situation in which she really feels sympathy for the lads, especially after this is what war has done to them. Overall, I really love the way that this story broods on the fact that the Doctor is trying to find himself again, and most importantly, he's trying to accept that there are good people out there in the universe, especially after seeing the absolute carnage that the Time Lords and the Daleks have ensued on all of creation. It's good for him to come back down to Earth and really feel embraced once again. And for that reason, I give it a solid 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Doctor Who review. Until then, goodbye, stay beautiful, you beautiful people.